The Alfa Romeo Tonale is not just a new compact family SUV. This is a new Alfa Romeo, reborn under the ownership of Stellantis, the huge parent company that was formed when the Fiat Group and PSA Groups merged to create one huge parts-sharing global manufacturer. So, interestingly, while the Tonale does represent a new era for Alfa Romeo under Stellantis ownership, actually the Tonale was signed off before the Stellantis merger was completed, and according to Jean-Philippe Imperato, the CEO for Alfa, well, it's really only managerial decisions that have affected the car since then. So this is Alfa Romeo engineering of pre-Stellantis. Regardless of all of that, and regardless of what this might mean for Alfa Romeo, as it goes into a bright new future under new ownership, well, if you're spending the thick end of £30,000, the important thing is that you want to know that you are getting a family SUV that is competitive on all of the important matters. The good news is that the Tonale does look like it does that on paper. So you can have it with a 1.5 litre full hybrid petrol engine, which we're actually testing here. So you get pure electric running at low speeds and around town, rather like you do in, say, the Toyota CHR hybrid, which is one of the Tonale's rivals, along with a vast swathe of other cars, including the Audi Q3, the BMW X1. There's masses of them. It's such a competitive class. So certainly the Tonale's got the efficiency going on that hybrid. There will also be a plug-in hybrid model coming a little bit later in 2022 with four-wheel drive and masses of power and a pure electric range of 37 miles. There's no diesel option, I'm afraid, so if you do want that, then you're going to have to look elsewhere. However, you do get automatic gearboxes as standard and, well, you get a car that looks like this. Now, when it comes to style, I think Alfa Romeo needs to make more of an impact than pretty much any other mainstream manufacturer, doesn't it? It's still a brand that hangs off that kind of, emotiveness and desirability, and I think the Tonale does a good job of it, actually. I really like the front end of it. The sort of quite an aggressive kind of frowning fascia really reminds me of that kind of the Alfa SZ, or possibly the kind of Brera and the 159 era Alfas, all of which I'd hold up there as being some of the best looking cars of their era. So I think this is a very good thing. I think it looked great in this green colour as well. It's just absolutely lovely. The classic Alfa Romeo wheels, it all just, I think, it really, really works as a design. Maybe around at the back here, maybe I'd argue that the light bar is becoming something of a cliche on cars these days. A lot of the cars have it, but I still think it is definitely one of the prettier and sort of more pleasing cars to look at in this class of, let's face it, a lot of them are quite boring and all sort of look a lot like each other. At least the Alfa definitely, I think, stands out a bit. And I think they've done a really good job on that front. Now, of course, it's a compact family SUV. You want it to be practical. So you get a really decent sized 500 litre boot with underfloor storage. We are on the international launch out around Lake Como at the moment. Of course it's Lake Como because Alfa wouldn't want you to forget that they are Italian after all, so really push that message home. Sadly a bit rainy, but what can you do? Anyway, good boot size, 500 litres. This floor can be raised so you get a nice flush boot floor. It's a bit of a high load lip, so if you've got a dog to get in there, that might be a bit of a problem, but other than that, not bad at all in terms of boot space. So I think access to the rear seats here is actually really good. It's quite a nice wide door, and when you're in, two average sized adults, I'm 5'7", absolutely fine. But I have to say, if you're tall, then I think you're going to be perhaps a little bit short of headroom, and even possibly a bit of knee room if you're got a tall driver in front of you. Even so, I think for the average family, I think this is going to be absolutely fine. So I think up here is one of the big success stories with the Tonale. It really does feel, it feels really nice. I think Alfa are really good at steering wheels. There's a really nice slim sort of steering wheel rim here. Very simple design, but looks really classy. I like the sort of this trim that we've got in this car. This is a TI, so there's only going to be two trims in the UK, the TI and the Veloce. And it just feels really nice. You get all the equipment you'd want as well. So even on the TI, you get full matrix LED headlights. I would add, they haven't actually confirmed the UK specification yet, so there may be some changes to this, but this is what we're expecting to get, is the full matrix LED headlights, keyless entry, you've got your climate control, your heated seats, masses of safety equipment as well. So Alfa are very proud of their level 2 semi-autonomous stuff. So semi-autonomous drive mode, adaptive cruise control, lane keep, all that kind of thing. And you can have blind spot assist and 360-degree parking camera optionally. To say new era again, but this is the most technologically advanced Alfa yet. So you get the full touchscreen system here, including Amazon Alexa, so you can connect it to your Alexa at home. Hello Alexa, tell me about the Tonale. She's not going to tell me anything, is she? So you get your Amazon Alexa, and you can tell her to turn your lights on at home. You can ask her from your speaker at home what the fuel level is in the car, all of that stuff. It's a really good voice control system by the standards of in-car voice control systems, it has to be said. So that's good. You get your nav, your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. And I must say, the graphics and the interface on this system are not bad at all. It responds quickly. Some of the icons are a bit small, but generally actually pretty easy to use. So it's all very good. You even get this digital driver's display as standard, really nice and big. I like the shape here of the dials. I think that feels very Alfa Romeo, a bit different to most other manufacturers. And you can change the view here. There are some thoroughly amusing quirks in the Tonale that sort of feel charmingly Alfa Romeo as well. Weirdly, the windscreen wipers, if you push it down once, that turns the rear windscreen wiper on rather than giving you one swish of your front windscreen wipers, which is what I think most people would expect. So that's a bit weird. It's also got your autonomous emergency braking. If it imminently senses a collision, which it did with us on the way up here on these really narrow roads, and it plays like a kind of trumpet fanfare. It's terrifying and also quite funny. So there you go. So there are definitely some peculiar quirks to the technology in the Tonale, but generally the interface is good, equipment, can't fault it, and the driving position, the steering wheel, everything about it feels really nice. And you know, the way this is all canted towards the driver, you feel nicely ensconced, and it feels, as with everything else about the Tonale, just that little bit sort of driver focused in a way that most rivals aren't. If style is key to an Alfa Romeo's appeal, so is its dynamics. An Alfa needs to be fun, involving, a bit special really, even when it's your daily family car or commuter. I think Alfa's done a really good job. This does feel more special to drive than most of its rivals. I think probably the Jaguar E-Pace is kind of getting up there because the Jaguar has similarly good steering, and that's what sets it apart. It's quite hard to find really good steering in a modern car, but Alfa's got really nice build of weight to it, whether you're in sort of normal or dynamic mode down here. And it's got a real sense of tactility. As you go around a corner, it builds nicely in weight, but you also get a real sense of what's going on at the wheels. And I think that really does make a difference. It's a small thing, but that sense of connection to the car really is what sets it apart. More than that, brake feels really good as well. It's really unusual, again, to find a hybrid car where you don't get a slightly peculiar change in response from the brake pedal when it goes from regenerative braking, which is actually where the electric motors are gathering energy, to friction brakes, which is traditional brakes. In the Alfa, they've managed to blend those two, and you don't really feel the difference, and you get really nice brake response and brake feel. And all of that means that you have huge amounts of confidence in the car, and you've got a really nice response from the front end, really nice turn into corners, despite this being the front wheel drive. It's a bit damp and greasy out here today, despite this being beautiful Italy, around Como, absolutely stunning area. It is a bit rainy, and yeah, I have to say the Tonale is dealing really well with it. A little bit understeery, little bit of sort of traction issues if you kind of accelerate hard out of a junction or something, but nothing that's unexpected or unpredictable. And generally, the car just feels really nice and taut, gels really well together in the handling and ride, absolutely brilliant. And I'm also in the camp of people who think that actually slightly firmer cars are often more comfortable because you get less body roll. Body control on this car is really good. And having that predictability in the way the car responds and moves, and because it's damped so well, everything just feels really nice and tight and precise. And I think even though maybe that gives a sense of it being a tiny bit chatty over certain road surfaces around town perhaps, I think because the whole car just feels so well controlled, I actually think that's more comfortable than a car that might have longer spring rates and more body roll and, on the surface of it be more comfort oriented and yet have that kind of sort of wallowy seasickness thing going on. So basically, I really, really like the ride and handling on the Tonale. I think Alfa have done a fantastic job of that. So it's all the more disappointing, really, that the powertrain's a bit underwhelming, actually. So 1.5 litre petrol, it's only a 0.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, so the electric running is only intermittent, it's really at lower speeds. sort of parking manoeuvres, this kind of thing, and around town when you set off. Very much sort of Toyota style hybrid. And generally it works fine, again, in that sort of situation around town, a gentle, steady mooch, all good, actually really refined, everything gels well, perfectly fine. But this is an Alfa Romeo, we want it to feel a bit special to drive, and as soon as you get it out on a decent road, even one a bit less intense than this kind of hairpin mountain road that we're on up around Lake Como, it just gets a bit, sort of trips over itself. That electric motor is integrated into the 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. And I think it's just, if you accelerate, it's not even flat out. If you go for sort of, 7 or 8 tenths of the performance, it gets a bit mooey and a bit coarse, and it can hang on to the revs a bit too long. Feels like it's deciding what to do, and then it kind of goes, ooh, and then kind of just feels all a bit kind of gloopy in sort of a bit, you just want it to be a bit smoother and a bit quicker to respond. I have to say, if you stick it in manual mode, then that does give you much more control, and I would definitely recommend getting the paddles, which are available, because it, like I said, more control, and that does sort of alleviate that sense of the powertrain being a bit out of its depth on faster roads. Apart from that, honestly, I think Alfa have done a really, really nice job of this. It'd be really interesting to see how that higher powered 4-wheel drive plug-in hybrid version fares, because this chassis absolutely deserves more power and a slightly better engine, frankly. There you have it then. Overall, the Alfa Romeo Tonale really does feel a little bit special, especially in terms of that ride and handling balance that sets it apart from most of its rivals. Yes, we are yet to see how Alfa Romeo will develop after the Stellantis developed cars start to appear. But with this still being the first car in a new era for Alfa Romeo, it really does promise great things for the brand. And more importantly for the consumer, it stacks up against all of those rivals and promises to be a really well-rounded, very recommendable option in the family car class. Don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars. We'll even tell you what's a good deal and what's not. And while you're here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Car Gurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.